This is the 4th of September 2012. It is a Tuesday. It feels like a Monday. I had yesterday off. Hey, folks, I need a day off once in a while, all right? It was Labor Day, so what the heck? You know what I mean? So anyway, welcome to the Views Expressed. I am your host, Reverend Wayne S. Pierce. Are you good today? It's a Tuesday. Are you good? Are you good? Let me know. Hey, let me know. You can email me directly at the show at freeamericaradio@usa.com, freeamericaradio@usa.com. Check out the website. Got a book for sale, Many Directions of Man. Also got a store there on the website. Pick something up to promote your patriotism, if I can say the word. And or you can donate. That'd be great, because all that does is keeps the show on the air and the website up. So there you go. Anyway, lots to talk about. I put up a message earlier, and I am personally going to say that, as a disclaimer here, I'm going to say this, that if you don't like certain shows that you hear on Spreaker.com, you don't have to listen to them. It's that simple. Disclaimer number 2, if you are getting or having a show where all you're doing is trashing other people and trashing other shows and saying how bad they are, well, you know what? That's not good, okay? Kind of makes people question what your moral fabric is like, or integrity or something, you know? And if you don't care, you don't care. But still, there's shows here that I don't like. Let's put it this way, folks. I don't even like Howard Stern, all right? I really don't. I don't go trash him every chance I get, all right? I just don't like the way he does his show. He seems to be very unprofessional. I've seen him on, what is that, American Got Talent or whatever. He's, to me, I just, no. I don't like the way he does things. I don't sit there and trash him and call him names. I saw him on E! When he was on there in the 90s, and I heard some of his, segments of his radio shows on YouTube and stuff like that, and I got to tell you something. I don't like the guy, but I don't get on here and trash him for what he does, because you got a right to do what you want, and people have a right not to listen. So if you don't like the show, there's other shows out there, you know. Seriously. But I want to give, there's trolls on every show. There's people trying to get into certain shows and all this and the other. All that bull crap. It's all drama. But when a company, let's just say when a company understands that this is happening and they do nothing about it, then it's the responsibility falls on the hosts of the show. Like me, if somebody trashed my show, I would say, hey, why are you trashing my show? I want to know. Well, I don't like it. Well, doesn't mean you have to trash it. I don't like Howard Stern or many of the shows that I listen to on terrestrial radio. It doesn't mean I'm going to go out and trash them. Have you listened to my show? Well, parts of it. Well, really? Why don't you listen to the whole thing? You might learn something. Maybe, I don't want to listen to it. Well, then fine, don't listen to it. I don't care. But if you're going to, if a company is going to ignore the people of that company and not ignore telephone calls, but if the company, for instance, Spreaker, you go on the Spreaker forum, nothing really is done. In other words, you can say, hey, there's this host that's saying this and there's this and going on, and they're not going to do anything. It's the responsibility of the host to take that information and give it to the proper authorities if need be. Okay, outside of Spreaker. I wouldn't expect anybody to do anything less if I did something wrong. You know what I mean? I would hold you responsible, seriously. It's just common sense. It's just common freaking sense. A lot of people don't have that. don't operate on that anymore. But one of the hosts on Spreaker, I have to give them a virtual high five. And I said that in a message, so you might want to go to the message. And I think it's on the Diana and Wayne's Grab Bag Potpourri site. I didn't put it on the right one, but that's okay. It's up there. You'll see it. Look under episodes. I got to give them a high five. I have to give them a virtual high five. They took a situation which was for weeks being drawn out into this whole who's doing this, why that. We got to find out who it is. It didn't seem like any other host or Spreaker was doing anything about it. So this one particular show and the hosts took and did something about it and remedied the situation, hopefully. So I have to give them a virtual high five. That would be JD and people over at Monster Boss Radio. High five, dudes. Seriously. All right? So those, in my book, for that particular thing that they did, they get a high five. I've listened to their show. There's some things I don't like about it, and there are some other things I do. That's okay. There's some things about, my show that people don't like. There's some things about my show people do like. I don't have 1,500 followers on Spreaker for nothing. Have they all listened to my show? Probably not. Maybe about 80 or 90 of them have listened to my show. I see a lot of downloads, so obviously it's going somewhere. So somebody likes it. And thank you. I appreciate that. Seriously. Let me take a drink of coffee and we'll go to break. The views expressed for the new listeners is I take the news, I analyze it, I match it to what I've researched over the last 35 some odd years, 30 years or more, and I will tell you exactly what's going on. Some people call me a conspiracy theorist. I am not. I deal with facts. Don't like the facts? Hey, not my problem. I'm not a person who's going to sit there and give you fluff. I'm not. I have another show, 2 other shows for that. Okay? I'm not going to give you fluff. I'm not going to sit here and say, well, MSNBC is not that bad. No, they're left wing like you would not believe. I will tell you the truth. Well, CBS isn't all that bad. Yes, they are. They're bought off by Goldman Sachs. Okay? So I'm going to tell you exactly what I know. And if you sit there and pick your nose and shove it in your ear and sit on your hands, it's not my problem. You need to go out and check this stuff out yourself. You'll find a lot of this stuff is out in the open. All right? So, anyway. So, hey, if JD over at Mobster Boss Radio wants to call in, I would appreciate it. I know he's busy. He's like everybody else. They got a day job. So, hey, my hat's off to him. He's busting his butt, all right? So, it's okay. You can also email me directly at the show at freeamericaradio@usa.com, freeamericaradio@usa.com. If you have stories or articles or something you want to share with me as far as for the show itself, please send that to Liberty and Freedom Network at USA.com. Liberty and Freedom Network at USA.com. And guess what, folks? Guess what? Take a wild guess. We'll be back after this. Calvin Wheeler is an American dreamer in a triple threat cage match with his two biggest adversaries, everyday life and himself. His marriage to the woman he believed to be his soulmate is rapidly evaporating before his eyes. The book he's been working on for over a decade is slipping through his fingers as he struggles to complete it. As these pressures grow, Calvin compensates by conjuring up outrageous road rage scenarios in the multiplex of his mind. To make matters even worse, he drives for a living. As his life, job, and dreams simultaneously implode, his wild fantasies begin to literally bleed over into reality. Now, with a gun in one hand and a steering wheel in the other, this distant runner-up in the human race feels empowered for the very first time. And the moral to the story? Traffic can be murder. Red Asphalt by Scott Cherney. Available on the Kindle and in paperback at Amazon.com. It's New York, February 6, 1964. The Beatles are making their appearance on The Ed Sullivan Show in one more day. The Plaza Hotel is crazy with the preparations. Alex Frazier, a desk clerk, has secretly let his brother Freddie use the penthouse suite for the evening so he can wine and dine the girl of his dreams. What Alex and Freddie don't know is the Secret Service are using the same room to hide spy novelist Henry Lade. His most recent novel has attracted the attention of the Soviets and East Germans. The communist countries believe Lade may have secretly discovered their plot to bomb Fresno. Assassins are dispatched to kidnap or kill Lade, whichever is easiest. What Agent John Parker and Henry Lade don't know is the Beatles are staying in the same room for their first appearance on American television. Let's Get Laid by Thomas Amo, available on the Kindle at Amazon.com. This is the views expressed right here for the 4th of September 2012. How y'all doing on this Tuesday? Yes, it's going to be a good week, going to be an awesome week. If the phone stops ringing, see, live radio, phone rings, you know, it gets that way. Okay. Well, let me go to break. It's something important, okay?
Late Night in the Midlands is an alternative media that covers the truth, theory, and fact that the lamestream media won't talk about. We cover everything from the known and the unknown, the normal and the paranormal, the government lies and the government ties, and even their thrive. We tell what's coming, what's going, whether it be politics or archaeologists. We have an amazing fan base, and our shows are all archived to be heard millions of times more. So tell your friends, your family, and anybody you care about LateNightInTheMidlands.com. Become a member and be informed.
Come listen to Journey into Light with your host, Michael Long. The show is about looking into the afterlife. Where do our souls go from here? What are the true messages from above? Everybody is family, so make a journey into light with Michael Long your home. With the best guests on the show, they share the love with all who call in and those who are in the chat room. That's Journey into Light with Michael Long, Sunday through Thursday, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, on blogtalkradio.com/Journey into the Light. Eastland Sci-Fi Radio Theater is looking for you. Are you a voice actor looking to hone your abilities? Are you a writer looking for actors? Then Eastland Sci-Fi Radio Theater is for you. If you are a voice actor or a writer of sci-fi themed radio plays, send your information to Eastland Radio Films at USA.com. For more information, go to eastlandradiofilms.wix.com/EastlandFilms for more information. If you are a voice actor, send your audition clips to Eastland Radio Films at USA.com. Express right here on the Liberty and Freedom Network, broadcasting live on Spreaker.com. I want to apologize for that break. Well, not really, but I had a phone call that was important, and the caller ID showed the number, and I went, yes, I have to get this. So, a little break there. Go check out Michael there at latenightinthemidlands.com and the other things. And, of course, you heard on that promo, I'm looking for voice actors for Eastland Sci-Fi Radio Theater. So if you want to be a voice actor, or if you are a voice actor and you want to share in this endeavor, please send your information to Eastland Radio Films at USA.com. Back on the views expressed on the Liberty and Freedom Network right here, broadcasting live on Spreaker.com for the 4th of September, 2012. Want to, again, give a shout out to Mobster Boss Radio, JD over there. I don't have the information on me or what day or week or whatever, but a very popular show is coming back with a very popular host. So let's put it this way. He is the king of all dorks. I'll just leave it at that. Whether you like him or not, that's up to you. I don't care. All right? Whether you like me or not, it doesn't matter. It's not my problem. All right? You either like the show or you don't. I either like watching, or like listening to other shows, or I don't. I mean, it's a personal preference. You have one, I have one, everybody has one. You can like it or not. Hey, onward and upward. I'll stop ranting now. I'll stop digressing. Go to Liberty and Freedom Network at that's my Liberty and Freedom Network at USA.com. Email the show and give me what you got. Go to Liberty and Freedom Network on Facebook. That's right. Over there on that NATO CIA tracking system over there. Facebook. Same thing with the Google. Their NSA tracking. So go over to Liberty and Freedom Network on Facebook. Check things out. Did you know, first thing off the top, Bloomberg.com, food stamp use climbed to record 46.7 million in June, U.S. says. Food stamp use climbs to record, reviving campaign issue. First of all, why are so many people on food stamps? That's the question I want to know. Okay. The government keeps saying, well, we're going to create jobs. No. Only in a fascist dictatorial country does the government, does the state create the job. No. Listen up, government criminals. Oh, wait. You're not going to listen to me because you're criminals and I am for freedom. Let's see. So let me put this message out to we the people. You need to create jobs in your area. Don't allow the government to put their hand in anything that you do. They'll screw it up immensely. Case in point, post office, airlines, Amtrak, healthcare. They got their pies, they got their fingers in the pies all over the place, and they're screwing everything up. So you have to create that job. You have to continue on the principles of capitalism and help your neighbor and your neighborhoods and your cities create the opportunities to create those jobs for those people in your area. Don't allow the government to do it. It's pointless. Back to Bloomberg.com. Go to Bloomberg.com, click on the link on Liberty and Freedom Network. Food stamp use climbs to record. Reviving campaign issue. Food stamp use reached a record 46.7 million people in June, the government said, as Democrats prepare to nominate President Barack Obama for a second term with the economy as the chief issue in the campaign. Participation was up 0.4% from May and 3.3% higher than a year earlier and has remained greater than 46 million all year as the unemployment rate stayed higher than 8%. New jobless numbers will be released September 7th. Agriculture Secretary Tom Vilsack said in an email statement today to Bloomberg, quote, too many middle-class families have fallen on hard times or still struggling. Our goal is to get these families the temporary assistance they need so they are able to get through these tough times and back on their feet as soon as possible. Food stamp spending, which more than doubled in 4 years to a record $75.7 billion in fiscal year ending September 30th, 2011, is the U.S. Department of Agriculture's biggest annual expense. Republicans in Congress have criticized the cost of the program, and the House budget plan approved in April, sponsored by Representative Paul Ryan of Wisconsin, the party's vice presidential nominee, would cut expenses by $33 billion over 10 years. Let me interject something. Why does it take that long to cut? And why does it cost anything to the taxpayers for them to cut anything, any spending whatsoever? I want to know this. Send your information to Liberty and Freedom Network at USA.com. Liberty and Freedom Network at USA.com. But then again, you have to, let me interject this as well. If Paul Ryan, vice presidential nominee, is wanting to cut $33 billion in spending over the next 10 years, that's $3.3 billion a year. Okay? All right? Now, the fiscal year from, ending in September 30th, 2011 was from the 10th, from September of 2010. $75.7 billion with a $3.3 billion cut every year. You're not making any progress when nobody is, hiring and food costs keep going up. You're not going to make any progress. It's like taking 2 steps forward and 3 steps back. It ain't going to happen, folks. All right? It ain't going to happen. The government gets their fingers in the pie and screws it all up. Continuing. Cuts planned. Republican presidential nominee Mitt Romney said in an email, we need a new direction. Amanda Hennenberg, spokesman for the Republican presidential nominee Mitt Romney, said in an email. Amanda said, Democrats are desperately trying to convince voters that they are better off than they were 4 years ago, but the opposite is true, unquote, as evidenced by the food stamp numbers, she said. So she cites the food stamp numbers, $75.7 billion. Continuing, reductions to the program have almost emerged as a point of contention in debate over a farm bill to replace current law that expires September 30th. The U.S. state in June passed a plan that would lower expenditures by $4 billion over 10 years, while the House Agricultural Committee the following month backed a $16 billion cut. During the Republican primary campaign, then candidate Newt Gingrich labeled Obama as, quote, the best food stamp president in American history, unquote. When the National Association for Advancement of Colored People called his statement inaccurate and divisive, Gingrich dismissed the complaints as a smear from modern liberals, that's in quotes, who are, quote, off the deep end, unquote. Food stamp enrollment is rising partly because the USDA is pushing higher participation to aggressively giving government money to people who may not need it or want it, U.S. Senator Jeff Sessions said in a telephone interview. Government incompetence, that's in quotes, quote, this administration has been hawking food stamps, unquote, said the Alabama Republican who has called for lower spending on the program. Quote, every additional dollar in this program is borrowed money, unquote. He said, quote, it's one more example of government incompetence, unquote. He is absolutely right. Let me interject that. We're borrowing money from everybody from China, Japan. Japan's economy is going to fail because we're dependent upon their zombie banks, basically, is what we're dependent on. And China's looking at us going, dudes, we're not going to give you any more money if you don't get your spending under control. Besides, China's economy, they've built ghost cities. There's cities out there with nobody living in them, all right? Oh, yes, the construction is good. People are moving. No, they're not, all right? Go look at the numbers. Everybody's still in Beijing or other places. Look at it. Look. Go to startpage.com, put in the search engine, China's ghost cities. You'll see what I'm talking about. Seriously, go look that up. You know, continuing, today's report shows the two most populous, now get this, today's report shows the two most populous states, California and Texas, had the most recipients. California was tops with 4.012 million, and 0.8% gain from the previous month, and 7.3% more than the previous year. Texas was second, while down 0.4% from the previous month, and 1.4% lower than the year earlier. Louisiana and North Carolina, where Democrats are meeting this week to nominate Obama, had the biggest monthly gains in enrollment, 1.3%. Enrollment fell the most in Utah, down 1.4% from May, followed by Idaho and Ohio. Well, you know why Utah went down? It's because everybody's preppers out there. You want to know who, is prepping really well for crap hitting the fan? That would be the Mormons. But I also know Mormons that aren't backing Mitt Romney. Ain't that a kick in the pants? Continuing, spending on what's officially called the Supplemental Nutritional Assistance Program, or SNAP, totaled $6.21 billion in June, 0.4% higher than the previous month, and 2.8% more than a year earlier. The record is $6.26 billion spent in September 2011. About 47% of recipients are children, 8% are elderly, according to the USDA, and about half of all new recipients leave the program within 10 months. They're not being totally accurate in that they're leaving the program because they're cut off. They're not leaving because, I got a job, I can afford food now. They're being cut off because they have to, from what I understand, I think it's every 6 months, they have to go and re-up, basically. They have to give the information and say, yeah, we're still, suffering at this point. We need help with SNAP and that's just the SNAP program. That's just the Supplemental Nutritional Assistance Program. We're not talking to general county and the state. No. So, more news on that later as soon as I get it. But I think it's every 6 months. They reevaluate and go from there. Food stamps up. 46.7 million people in June, just a couple of months ago. So think about that for a minute. Coming back from the break, I'm going to go into Zombie Americans Don't Know What Memorial Day is For. Mark Dice, writer, author, writer and talk show host himself, goes out and asks people what Labor Day is. There's a video up there. You can check that out. When I come back from the break, I'm going to talk about this. You guys got smartphones, right? You guys, there's all kinds of smartphones out there, right? You got one? Cool. Look at it. The Intel Hub. Evidence. FBI tracking and monitoring Americans via smartphones. Hello. Yeah. By the way, they are going to put through that from, I think, last year, at the beginning of the year, where President Obama can, or any president now, can come in on your smartphone to give you certain emergency announcements or whatever. Yeah. That's the whole plan there. Got a lot of pictures on Liberty and Freedom Network on Facebook. You guys really have to check out a video called Little Girl Yells at Soldiers, Praises Peace, and it's heartbreaking. It really is. You got to check it out. It's really cool. Got a lot of pictures up there. Counter Think is another picture. Big Pharma is literally controlling the FDA. FDA is the puppet of Big Pharma. Continuing after the break, Shoot to Kill, autonomous robots developed by DARPA will not question orders. And former Asian First Minister, global UN police force to enforce world government dictates. Okay? All right? Do you understand what is going on, folks? You don't? Well, yeah. Stay tuned and I'll be back and I'll discuss all of this. I'll look into all of this and let you know. And I can clear my throat. So anyway, we'll be back. We'll be back right after this.
Late Night in the Midlands is an alternative media that covers the truth, theory, and fact that the lamestream media won't talk about. We cover everything from the known and the unknown, the normal and the paranormal, the government lies and the government ties, and even their thrive. We tell what's coming, what's going, whether it be politics or archaeologists. We have an amazing fan base, and our shows are all archived to be heard millions of times more. So tell your friends, your family, and anybody you care about LateNightInTheMidlands.com. Become a member and be informed.
Come listen to Journey into Light with your host, Michael Long. The show is about looking into the afterlife. Where do our souls go from here? What are the true messages from above? Everybody is family, so make a Journey into Light with Michael Long your home. With the best guests on the show, they share the love with all who call in and those who are in the chat room. That's Journey into Light with Michael Long, Sunday through Thursday, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, on blogtalkradio.com/Journey into the Light. Eastland Sci-Fi Radio Theater is looking for you. Are you a voice actor looking to hone your abilities? Are you a writer looking for actors? then Eastland Sci-Fi Radio Theater is for you. If you are a voice actor or a writer of sci-fi themed radio plays, send your information to Eastland Radio Films at USA.com. For more information, go to eastlandradiofilms.wix.com/eastlandfilms for more information. If you are a voice actor, send your audition clips to Eastland Radio Films at USA.com. You're listening to the views expressed for the 4th of September 2012 right here on the Liberty and Freedom Network, broadcasting on Spreaker.com. Spreaker's got some good programs, some good, shows and great plans if you want to be a host. Yeah, check it out. Also, want to email us? Email us at libertyandfreedomnetwork@usa.com. That would be Liberty and Freedom Network at USA.com. Onward and upward. Excuse me. Oh, I hate it when I get stuff. You ever wake up in the morning and your nose is so plugged up, you're just like, and it's just like, you can blow your nose all day long and you're like, it's still plugged up, And it's affecting my ears as well, so it's a nasty thing, man. I'm telling you. Hey, again, let me just put forth here that Liberty and Freedom Network is looking for you. So if you have a show on Spreaker or whatever network, doesn't matter, Blog Talk Radio, TalkShoe, your own, please send that information to Liberty and Freedom Network at USA.com. Liberty and Freedom Network at USA.com. Let me run back up the page here at Liberty and Freedom Network on Facebook. Let me tell you, get into an article from the IntelHub.com, an article written by Steve Watson from Infowars.com, posted today. And you'll love this one if you have a smartphone. I'm being sarcastic. Evidence. FBI tracking and monitoring Americans via smartphones. Hacker group Antisec has leaked what it says is evidence that the FBI is actively monitoring communications on every American using an iPhone. The hackers released a statement Tuesday claiming that it had obtained detailed information on some 12 million iPhone users taken from FBI's agents' laptops. The group, long associated with the more notorious anonymous hacktivist organization, released 1 million iOS device IDs to back up its claim. With some identifying information removed, the data proves, according to Antisec, that effing FBI is using your device info for a tracking people project or some S word. A more detailed passage in the statement notes during the second week of March 2012, a Dell Vostro notebook used by Supervisor Special Agent Christopher K. Stangl from FBI Regional Cyber Action Team and New York FBI Office Evidence Response Team was breached using the Atomic Reference Array vulnerability on Java. During the shell session, some files were downloaded from his desktop folder, one of them with the name of NCFTA _ iOS _ devices _ intel.csv. That's unquote. It turned to be a list. It was a list of 12 million Apple OS devices, including unique device identifiers, usernames, name of device, type of device, Apple push notification service tokens, zip codes, cell phones, addresses, etc., and the personal details fields referring to people appears many times empty, leaving the whole list incomplete on many parts. No other file on the same folder makes mention about this list or its purpose. Antisec says that its motivation for leaking the information is to make it more evident that innocent people are being tracked and monitored by covert Western intelligence agencies. The group states, quote, we have learned, it seems clear, quite clear, nobody pays attention if you just come and say, hey, FBI is using your device details and info. The full profanity-laced anti-sec post can be read. There's a link there. And to give you the link, it is, just click on the link on Liberty and Freedom Network. Go to where it talks about the FBI tracking, monitoring Americans on their iPhones. You'll read it. The link is there to the profanity-laced anti-sec post. And continuing, neither the FBI nor Apple has commented on the leak. If it is genuine, and there is no reason to believe it is not, this case once again goes to show that whether it be mandatory Homeland Security alerts, wireless disabling your communications on a whim, or secretly tracking you wherever you go, the rise of the smartphone brings with it a huge threat of privacy and the rights of the individual. Again, this is another case not of smartphone and technology in general being intrusive, but the technology being co-opted and abused by those who could care less for the constitutional rights of free Americans. There's a video associated with this article, so go check that out. FBI tracking and monitoring Americans via smartphones on Liberty and Freedom Network. Check all that out. I got to tell you, if you have a smartphone, I'm pretty sure you can find somebody that can jailbreak it somehow and get rid of that tracking device. I'm sure. Whether they do it or not, whether there is a way to do it or not, I am not sure. I am not a techie. I am not one of those folks. I'm not that geeky. I don't get into all the technology, and I'm not, some geek squad person that knows how to break into these things. I just don't. But I think, well, there's two things. I just don't think. I believe this. Number one, everybody's free to express themselves any way they see fit. And if in that you know that you're being monitored by someone, yes, leak that information out on who's, hacking into your system and monitoring you. Release that information and say, yes, the government is doing this. Yes, this particular department in the government is doing this. They are violating my freedoms. They are violating, all of my rights. They don't have a Fourth Amendment or a Fifth Amendment right to do this either way, or a Fourth Amendment right to do this. We need to slam this in their face, and we need to make them understand we're well aware of what they're doing to us. So that's the first thing. The second thing is if you have a smartphone, I would find some way, and by the way, if it's an Android or whatever it may be, you can find there is a folder in one of your folders on that phone, I'm sure, that describes what the operating system is and certain codes that you can use to shut certain things off. Check your menu. I'm pretty sure it's there. I don't, I'm just saying because of the computer technology that I know about, because I'm hardware. I'm not software. And what I know about and what I've known for over 20 years is that, yes, from the information that I have received from, different areas and different people, there is always a back door into the programs. Always. And Microsoft, why do you think Microsoft sends out updates? You got to update this vulnerability. When you buy the OS, the operating system, whether it be Windows 7, XP, or the new one coming out, there's a way to get in there. Always. And hackers, or I don't even call them hackers anymore because they're not, but people can get into certain areas of your computer and really destroy it. It happens. You hear it all the time. So it's not so much, a hacker got into my computer. No, the OS, even Linux, has a back door to get into the program. Okay? It's not a vulnerability. They purposely put it in there. Go read the Telecommunications Act of 1996. Go look at the amendments. Go look at newer bills and other resolutions that are out there about computers and communication and technology. Even your cell phone companies have the same thing. They allow all these companies, computer manufacturers, cell phone companies, internet service providers, when the government comes along and says, hey, I want that information, you have to give it over to them. This is what these companies are now told to do under certain resolutions and regulations and certain laws. They have to do this under the Telecommunications Act of 1996. Go to startpage.com, put it in there. Telecommunications Act 1996. Go and after that put PDF. I have it. It's on my computer. And you'll see. It's there. And you'll say, well, because I read it and I'm going, well, somebody might say that this isn't true and this thing. No. You have to read between the lines. If you are anywhere near intelligent enough to read between the lines, and I'm not saying you're stupid, I'm just saying that people read it and they'll go, well, it doesn't say that, it's not verbatim. Well, no, you have to look through the legalese and through all the crap they put in there. Break it down. Take the complicated wording and break it down to, an easier way to understand it. And then go look up other stuff pertaining to it, Go to startpage.com and put in, backdoors of computer programming, backdoors of computer operating systems. You'll find all kinds of information out there. Government backdoors, government ordering backdoors to computer operating systems. Go look that up. Government ordering computer manufacturers to make backdoors to the computer operating system. Or however you want to put it in there. But yeah, it's there. You're not going to get around it. Okay? The only way you're going to get around it is if you get into your iPhone and really get into the programming, plug it into a computer somewhere, and reprogram the thing. You know what I mean? Seriously. I don't know if you can do that because I think there's what do they call it? A fail-safe. There's safeguards against that. But anyway, hey, onward and upward to Liberty and Freedom Network on Facebook. I want to make mention right now, before the top of the hour. Actually, I have come back from a 30-second break here. I got a short segment, and at the top of the hour, we'll continue with the news, and we'll go from there. Actually, it's a couple of minutes. It's 2 minutes. I said 30 seconds. It's 2 minutes, and I shall return, and we'll continue on with the news. But I just want to say something right here, that if you have any information pertaining to what you have found on your computer, on your iPhone, on your laptop, whatever it is, if you have found something unusual that you've tracked back to the federal government, I want to know about it. Send it to Liberty and Freedom Network at USA.com. Liberty and Freedom Network at USA.com. If you want to blow the whistle on people, or if you're a whistleblower, whatever it is, send your information to whistleblowertips at USA.com. Whistleblowertips at USA.com. I know a lot of email addresses. I know. If you can't remember one, you'll probably remember another one. That's okay. I got a bunch of them. If you're on the Spreaker page, you'll see, the email address and the website. So however you want to get that information to me, that's okay. All right? So mainly Liberty and Freedom Network at USA.com. Liberty and Freedom Network at USA.com. I will go, and I'll be back in a couple of minutes, so stick around. We'll be back. Come join Reverend Wayne S. Pierce on The Views Express, Monday through Friday, 4 p.m. Pacific is 7 p.m. Eastern on Spreaker.com.
Listen to Angel Clark Monday through Friday, 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Radio Freedom News Network. RadioFreedom.us.
Have you heard about a show called Diane and Wayne's Grab Bag Potpourri? It's a talk show. Well, it's called Grab Bag Potpourri for a reason. They talk about everything under the sun, from education to politics, from lines at the cashier in the stores to parking lot drivers not paying attention. You want real radio? Well, you don't get any more real than that. That's Diane and Wayne's Grab Bag Potpourri talk show. Fridays at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern. A little bit of this, a little bit of that, and a whole lot of fun.
We went to the streets to ask people, what do you like about Doc FM?
Oh, well, I think he's sexy. He has a very sexy voice, and he makes my headphones tingle.
I think the doctor is very smart. Everything he tells you, you must learn it, because it is smartness to know. Plus, he plays my favorite music. He plays like the 80s and the 70s and the 44s and the 62s.
J'ai pas eu une seule occasion de rester sans rien faire depuis que je suis arrivé à Camelot. Je suis trop occupé à courir derrière Arthur. Fais ci Merlin, fais ça Merlin. Et quand je cours pas derrière Arthur, je fais des corvées pour vous. Et quand je fais pas ça, j'accomplis mon...
Doc FM on Spreaker.com.
Well, it's no secret that Doctor won't play none of that countrified music, so I don't really listen to him that much, but when I do, it's a hoedown. The first time that I listened to the Doctor, he was making fun of the British. After I got over my attitude, I came back and listened to him. He's wonderful and raucous.
Listen to Doc FM every Saturday evening, 7 p.m. Central, right here on Spreaker.com.
if I hit the right button. The Views Express, right here for the 4th of September 2012. How y'all doing on this Tuesday? You doing okay? Great, wonderful, fantastic. Hey, I think I got the old clearing the throat throughout the show. Isn't that annoying? Seriously, isn't that annoying? There's a lot of things just happening all over the place. I cannot really fathom most of the stuff happening. Okay, I really, really can't. All right? It's just, oh, God. You want to pull your hair out. If I did, I wouldn't have much hair left. I don't know about you, but I don't know. Hey, email me. Liberty and Freedom Network at USA.com. Liberty and Freedom Network at USA.com. Little brief break, and I'll be right back. Hey, this is the Views Express right here on the Liberty and Freedom Network. Broadcasting live on Spreaker.com for the 4th of September 2012. I'm glad you're all here. I'm glad you're all listening. If you are listening, I get notifications that you're listening. So if you're in the chat room, please say hi. If you're in there and you're just listening and you don't want to say anything, how am I gonna know you're there? You know, if you're there and you're not saying anything, please tell me that you're going to leave now. I was just listening, and thank you. You know, whatever you want to do. It doesn't matter. I got to tell you, lots of things are changing as we speak. President Obama's after your Second Amendment rights. You going to allow that to happen? I hope not. Go to Liberty and Freedom Network on Facebook. And, let's go to this article from Occupy Corporatism. I want to thank Suzanne Polzel over there at Occupy Corporatism for this article. Okay? I like their byline, the real truth behind the news. I love it. It's great. Go to occupycorporatism.com. Susan Polzel writes, the Defense Advanced Projects Research Agency. Yeah. Headline reads, Shoot to Kill, autonomous robots developed by DARPA will not question orders. DARPA, Autonomous Robotic Manipulation Program, seeks to find ways to utilize different remote robotic manipulation systems that are controlled by humans. This program is divided into three aspects. One, hardware to design dexterous multi-fingered robotic hands. They already have that. They come out of Japan and Germany, and I think there's one in Denmark. I know China has a bunch of those. They look like your own. Take away the skin of your hand, you'll see the skeleton. Yeah, that's what they have. It's already been in development and perfected, or shouldn't say perfected. It's been built and prototyped within the last 10 to 15 years. I've seen the documentation. I've seen the evidence. One, hardware to design dexterous multi-fingered robotic hands. Two, software, develop complex algorithms for grasping, manipulation, and sensory perception. Keep that one in mind. Number three, outreach, beta testing robotics in public forums to further study robotic autonomy. Let me interject something there on that last one. Outreach, beta testing robotics in public forums to further study robotic autonomy, which literally means the more that is out there, the more that you'll get used to them being out there. Okay, there's a psychological operations definition for that, and I can't remember what it was right offhand. In 2010, DARPA revealed a robot at the Association for Unmanned Vehicle Systems International Conference in Denver that was interactive in a public forum. Participants would write software and have the robot perform specific tasks. The goal of this event was to show that robots were being developed by the U.S. government to perform quote-unquote dangerous tasks, such as disarming an explosive device, thereby reducing quote-unquote significant human interaction. Universities and other government-controlled agencies such as Carnegie Mellon University, HLR Laboratories, iRobot. Yes, folks, there is a real organization called iRobot. NASA Jet Propulsion Laboratories, SRI, and the University of Southern California provided teams of research to write software for DARPA. Boston Dynamics, don't know who that is? Check your cable box. Boston Dynamics Incorporated has been awarded a $10.9 million contract to manufacture humanoid robots that are bipedal. They stand up like you and I, folks. Built like humans and have a sensor head with onboard computing capabilities. Okay. These robots are being created to assist in evacuation and rescue missions. Yeah, sure. According to DARPA. They could also be employed to evacuation operations during either man-made or natural disasters. Sure, yeah, right. This week, the project offices of Unmanned Aircraft Systems, UAS, Apache Attack Helicopter, and Armed Scout Helicopter revealed a manned-unmanned system integration capability. Okay? Take the letters of that and spell that word out. Manned-unmanned system integration capability. At Michael Army Air Force Airfield in Dugway Proving Ground, Utah, which is not very far from the big $2 billion facility to track everything you do. During the exercise, music showed that the U.S. Army could use drones armed with lethal weapons that were wired for precise communication with their operator. The RQ-7 Shadow is another enhanced drone with weapons capabilities. As the U.S. Army endeavors to combine ground forces with drone technology, their tactical operations success is multiplied. Let me interject something here, folks. Go back up a couple of sentences, a couple of paragraphs here. Let me read this. These robots are being created to assist in evacuation and rescue missions, according to DARPA. They could also be employed to evacuation operations during either man-made or natural disasters. Just keep that in mind, folks, when you see an autonomous robot and a bunch of them walking through your neighborhood. You can also take them out if you'd like. Yeah, you techies out there know how to do that. Continuing, the use of government-sponsored universities such as Cornell, MIT, and Delft University of Technology in the Netherlands has created prototypes for bipedal robots that will someday be synthetic army or police force. 3 words, folks. Lieutenant Commander Data. Stanford University's Aerospace Robotics Laboratory, ARL, wants to introduce autonomous robots into law enforcement situations, such as response in lieu of police SWAT teams. Drones for law enforcement are being developed in the creation of a Talon SWAT MP that can be configured with a multitude of weaponry. Some include a multi-shot taser, LRAD, 40mm grenade launcher, and a 12-gauge shotgun. An earlier version of Talon developed for the Israel Defense Forces, the Israeli Ministry of Defense the Directorate of Defense, was the Viper series that were equipped with a 9mm mini Uzi with scope and pointer or grenade launcher. In 2006, the Los Angeles began using aerial drones to spy over citizens under the guise of tracking suspects. The Federal Aviation Administration subsequently ended that program. The police force retaliated, citing that, quote, there is an immediate need by state and local public safety personnel for unmanned aerial systems, unquote. The Naval Research Lab has developed Sapphire, or I think Safer or whatever it is, the shipboard autonomous firefighting robot. Sapphire is an autonomous bipedal humanoid robot based on the Charlie L1 robot created at Virginia Tech. This robot can interact with humans with a comprehensive response system that utilizes language, including slang, to make it more familiar. A robot that can hold a conversation and fight fires is quite impressive. In 2009, with funding from the Pentagon, DARPA created the Multifunction Utility Logistics and Equipment Mule, which was a size of a Humvee. This robot car used sensors to drive autonomously and calculate its targets, await remote instructions, or decide to fire. Google now has driverless cars. Go check that out. Continuing, Mule's potential has been in the works for at least 3 years, more like 5. Its advancement and use as a battlefield vehicle is being tested and readied for deployment. Yeah, why send our men and women over there when you can send autonomous robots who will follow orders and have no emotion? The remote controls mirror those of a gaming console, which gives the operator the ease of playing a quote-unquote video game, while at the same time instructing a deadly piece of equipment on targeting missions. Unmanned ground vehicles have been in use since Iraq and Afghanistan. Hello? Just said that. They are unarmed for combat with the same capabilities as ground troops. Mule's development as an autonomous weapon for the purpose of allowing a robot to decide whether or not to carry out a mission is advantageous to the U.S. military. A force of robotic quote-unquote peacekeepers that are programmed to become violent without remorse will enable the government to organize and act where human law enforcement and or trained soldiers may hesitate. Yeah, because you don't want emotions in war, do you? When you take the guns from the American people, you don't want them fighting back. You want these big, massive pieces of autonomous robots and machinery to come and, destroy you. Yeah, let's take out the human meat bags. You know, yeah, you bet. Yeah, and somebody sitting somewhere in the United States or maybe overseas with a gaming console in front of them, with a gaming, whatever it is, joystick, whatever, and they're controlling it. So what kind of crap is that? Come on. I mean, seriously, look at the movie, Terminator. Look at that. What are you going to do? What are you going to do when 100 of them come waltzing through your neighborhood looking and they know where to go? They're programmed to go. I mean, when you register your guns, folks, they know where you're at. When you go buy one, they know where you're at. You have to give them an ID. Unless you're, a M13, Mexican drug gang that is funded by drug cartels from American money and sources over here, and they infiltrate places and they can, the government gives them the guns. Yeah, you don't believe me? Yeah, Fast and Furious, go look it up. Eric Holder knows, he's done it. The president knew it. It's all come out now, he knew it. He held back information. Of course he did. Why do you want a president that's going to lie? I don't. I'm not going to vote for him. Since Ron Paul's not on the ticket anymore, I think Gary Johnson's going to be on the ticket. So if Gary Johnson's on the ticket, let's just hope he can get in there and debate these people. You know what I'm saying? Going to Liberty and Freedom Network. Stay there, folks, because you know what? Yeah, you're right there. Liberty and Freedom Network. Check that out. Former Asian First Minister. Go to johnconnor1984.wordpress.com. Speaking of Terminator. That's how you can remember the website, johnconnor1984.wordpress.com. Former Asian First Minister, Global UN Police Force to enforce world government dictates. Okay? That leads you to another link, explosivereports.com. Okay? posted yesterday by Jurian Mason, I think. Former Malaysian First Minister Harris Salih, quote, "The Security Council will pave the way to setting up a world parliament and a world cabinet, making the UN the most powerful and having full authority on earth," unquote. Yesterday, the Malaysian Daily Express reported on a plea by former Malaysian First Minister Harris Salih calling on the United Nations to reform itself, changing the current system to a single, quote, "world parliament with member countries representing representatives as members," unquote. This proposed parliament must coexist with, as Harris explains, a quote-unquote world government ministry, which in turn must direct UN police force to be deployed all over the world to enforce decisions green-lighted by the World Parliament. Okay, I can't read any more of this, folks. You can go there. I'll post the link there from explosivereports.com and let you get pissed off by this. This is just total New World Order, one world government stuff, okay? Because that's what the UN was for. The League of Nations came together and later reformed itself as the United Nations with donated land by the Rockefellers in New York. Yeah. They did. I mean, come on. I mean, it's there. I mean, what are you going to do? Deny it now? Yeah. They want a one world government. You and I under the control of the United Nations. You and I under a one world government leader. You and I, that have probably heard about this New World Order since we were young, never knew, and probably had said we'd never see it in our lifetime, but never knew that it would happen in our lifetime. Folks, wake the hell up, will ya? You got no choice now. It's right there in your face. You don't like it? Tough. Man up, gut up, get a reality check, and do what you have to do. And if you have to do what you think you have to do, I'm pretty sure it's going to be a lot better than rolling over and sticking your tail between your legs and letting these jackwads run all over you. Gets me all excited, man. I just want to go out and, Yeah, hey, trust me. Trust me. Anybody coming to my place where I live without being invited? Oh, they're going to meet me all right. They're going to meet me. I got to tell you, though, man, you people need to wake up. I don't know why you people just sit there, I just want to watch the football game. Because you are dumb as a box of frickin' rocks. There's nothing I can do about it anyway. Yes, there is. I'm only one person. Well, then get out and find other people that you can align with, that can align with each other, and let's stop this bull crap. Okay? Well, hundreds of people might get killed. Go back and talk to our founding fathers and the people that put this country together. They manned up. They took the bull by the horns. They got their flintlocks. They got their swords. They got their weapons. And they went out and kicked some major ass. 2% of the people that stood against the most powerful army of that time, which was the British Empire, beat the crap out of them and pushed them back. And you're going to sit there and worry about your damn beer getting warm and watching your stupid sports programs. Are you out of your frickin' minds? This is the United States of America. This is what we fight for, not the bull crap coming out of Washington, D.C., okay? We, the people, have the power. Not the criminals that are living in that White House that we built. Yes, Mr. President, we built it, not you. Yes, I get excited. You bet I get excited. What, somebody going to come along and take my freedoms away from me? What, somebody's going to come along and take my liberties away from me? Not in my lifetime, buddy. I freaking guarantee that if we all stood up and said enough's enough, we would win. Over 70% of the military personnel right now that have been out on Facebook and YouTube and all this have said that if their generals, their COs, their commanders told them, you've got to go into that city's neighborhood and take those people's guns away from them, 70% of them said, no, we won't. A lot of them are over in Afghanistan and Iraq, and they come over here going, my God, it's a freaking joke over there. I applaud every single military and former military that is awake, that has come back and said how much of a joke and how deadly these criminals are in Washington, D.C. I applaud them. I want to shake their hand. If you go on YouTube, check out Adam Kokesh, Adam versus the Man. He's a former Marine. Trust me, he ain't got nothing nice to say about this government. I don't trust Washington, D.C. for anything. As I said before, they put their fingers in the pie and they mess it up. Yeah, I'm a little excited. Here, let me come into your house. Let me come into your house. Let me start eating your food. Let me use your phone to make long-distance phone calls. Let me take your cell phone and say, hell, let's see what you've been doing. Let me get on your computer and see what you've been up to and what you've posted on Facebook that you could get arrested for because now your personal freedoms are being violated. Yeah, look at that former Marine, or the Marine that I think it was a Marine, put something about President Obama on his Facebook page and got arrested for. Well, he was military. He shouldn't have done that. No, he was out. Hello? He was out. Okay? Yeah, I get excited. You bet I get excited. You know? Let me come to your house, dig into your pocket without your permission, get your keys, and take your car for a ride, okay? Let me go to the store and use your credit card to buy whatever I want, because that's what the government's doing when they have quantitative easing. They make more money, which we can't afford to pay off. We're already $16 trillion in debt with another, $600 trillion in derivatives. Fake money made up out of nowhere. You ever played Monopoly game? You see that money in the Monopoly game? That's about as much as our money is worth at this point. Okay? You people need to wake your ass up now. I can come on here and tell you everything. And hey, I got the websites right there. Go check it out yourself. Startpage.com. Put in there anything you want, right? But let me tell you something. I'm just going to bottom line it for you before I go to break here. I'm just going to bottom line it for you. If you're too busy worrying about what time your favorite program is on TV, and if you're too worried about, if you are too concerned about those things that distract you from the real issues in your life, then you're dumb as a box of rocks. Yes, I said it. There you go. Hate me, like me, email me. Want to email me personally at the show? Go ahead. freeamericaradio@usa.com. freeamericaradio@usa.com. But you people need to really understand what is happening around here. By October, I would even go as far as saying by next March or April. And this is backed up by Gerald Celente and a few other people. On the outset, by March or April of next year, I'm not saying it'll happen because you and I have the power to change it. We're going to go through a complete economic collapse of America. And guess what happens? We're then, believe it or not, put under United Nations Charter. 2005, Baylor University. I've said it before. 2005, Baylor University, President Bush, President Vicente Fox in Mexico, and Prime Minister Paul Martin in Canada. wrote the document, or signed the document, which became the foundation of the North American Union. President Obama in 2009, with Prime Minister of Canada Stephen Harper and current President Felipe Calderon in Mexico, signed a document that pretty much is putting together the infrastructure on top of the foundation of the North American Union. When the economy collapses, we are then going to be under the United Nations Charter in terms of one aspect of government, and we are going to be, as we are now on paper, the North American Union. Canada, U.S., and Mexico, all one country. Do you see what has happened with the European Union? They are collapsing under their own corruption. Yes, under their own corruption. The only financial market that's really holding that whole area up by a thin thread is Germany. So, email me. Email me, libertyandfreedomnetwork@usa.com, libertyandfreedomnetwork@usa.com. Send me any information you want. Anything. Send me anything. Okay? I really want to know. All right? I really want to know. Liberty and Freedom Network at USA.com. Liberty and Freedom Network at USA.com. That's for the show. My personal email address for the show is freeamericaradio at USA.com. freeamericaradio at USA.com. I'll be back after this.
Are you tired of the mainstream media? The media that is so biased, you wouldn't even let your dog listen to it? Well, there's an answer. Angel Clark.
On RadioFreedom.us.
Just listen to her fans.
One hell of a writer. I've read a considerable amount of her articles and quite impressed. Until Angel, my life was void of meaning.
I want to thank you for saving my goldfish from drowning.
I love Angel Clark's honesty and her down-to-earth concern about the people.
She is very dedicated.
Angel, we need you.
This Angel's a sexy woman. I think she's going to go places, but I don't know where.
Ladies and gentlemen, she does a good job.
If it wasn't for Angel,
you saved his life, and I will be indebted to you forever.
SussexCountyAngel.com. Be a part of Angel's Army. Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 p.m. on RadioFreedom.us.
Ladies and gentlemen, he is the king of all dorks. Go listen to the Chris Top program right here on Spreaker.com. Whatever the subject you can think of, we talk about it. Come join Diana and Wayne as we discuss whatever it is that is happening in our lives.
Come and listen to Diana and Wayne's Grab Bag Potpourri Talk Show. Check it out on Spreaker.com.
For close to a century, our government leaders have been manipulated by sinister groups behind the scenes. The facts are out there, mostly hidden in plain sight. For over 15 years, one man has been at the forefront of the alternative media, both on terrestrial radio and now the internet. He has been given access and documents to the most secretive methods of those that are truly running our government. That man is Alex Jones. For more information, go to www.infowars.com or prisonplanet.com and listen to his nationally syndicated radio show, live audio streaming at infowars.com or prisonplanet.com. This is Reverend Wayne S. Pierce. For more information on the views expressed, please go to the website associated with the show or email us at libertyandfreedomnetwork@usa.com. libertyandfreedomnetwork@usa.com. Hey, this is Reverend Wayne S. Pierce for the 4th of September 2012. You're listening to The Views Expressed right here on Liberty and Freedom Network, broadcasting live on Spreaker.com. Go to Spreaker. They got some good plans. If you want to host a show yourself, you can. Check out their plans. Go to Spreaker, SPREAKER.com. Scroll on down to the bottom of the page and look under Plans. Check them out as well. Anyway, you're listening to The Views Expressed. I am your host, Reverend Wayne S. Pierce, for the last 28 minutes of the show. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you agree or disagree, it's okay. I don't always agree with other people either. Email me. Liberty and Freedom Network at USA.com. Liberty and Freedom Network at USA.com. Go to the website, buy the book, Many Directions of Man. That's my perspective on what life is. Really, you know, what's going on and everything. That's my perspective. I got some possible solutions in there and some spiritual stuff too. You know, it all connects, right? You go to that's on the right-hand side of the page. You go to the left-hand side of the page, you'll see a donate button. Please donate because it's listener-supported and you can help me spread the word of freedom and liberty all throughout the world. And that helps keep the webpage up and the show going. Also, if you want to promote your patriotism and show how much liberty and freedom you want, you can go to the store there, a little link there on the left-hand side of the website, and you can buy stuff, okay? And all that does is help me with the show, keep the webpage up and the show going. You're awesome. Thank you for listening. And again, if you want to send me some email personally through the show, you can email that at freeamericaradio@usa.com. freeamericaradio@usa.com. If you have links or stories that you want to share, you can go to Liberty and Freedom Network on Facebook. Share them there if you'd like. Like the page. Become a member there as well. Totally awesome. I got a free email newsletter that I send out from time to time. Once, twice, 3 times a month, really. So if you have anything that you want to share, please do. You can send that to Liberty and Freedom Network at USA.com. Liberty and Freedom Network at USA.com. Okay, enough of this. Of course, enough of the shameless self-promotion. Can we get on with the show now? Liberty and Freedom Network on Facebook. Scroll on down. You'll see a lot of pictures. Mainstream media, don't you get it? Nobody believes you anymore. And that's my message and their message to you as well from conservatives against Obama and his liberal agenda. It's no longer Bush's fault. Hello, own up to it there, Mr. President. Now, scroll on down, Liberty and Freedom Network on Facebook. You will go to We Know the Secrets of the Federal Reserve.com. Okay? New 9/11 truth documentary among quote-unquote most watched on PBS this week, because nobody's buying the story, the official story of what happened. 9/11, explosive evidence, experts speak out, is getting public attention and casting doubt on the scientific validity of the U.S. government's investigation into the WTC tragedy. PBS is the first major network to air the program. PBS is funded by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and your dollars. I'm not doing a promo for them, but guess who's paying for well, let's just say propaganda. Yeah. Continuing, just days after the 11th anniversary of the World Trade Center tragedy and months away from the U.S. presidential election, a game-changing 9/11 documentary is ranking number 3 among most watched documentaries on PBS and number 1 among most shared. Available for free online August 18th through September 4th, which is today. The documentary could have a significant effect on public opinion. Both the Republicans and Democrats, as equally staunch defenders of the official story, stand to be affected if the public's suspicion of government corruption grows deeper. You think? Continuing, an earlier report on Digital Journal found that the claims made in the documentary can be verified by reading government reports themselves. The National Institute of Standards and Technology, the government agency charged with the investigation, did not provide any data, no measurements or estimates of the mass or energy that would be required to bring down the buildings in about 10 seconds. Normally, a scientific report would present all the data that is used to construct a theory. The omission of data is a red flag to anyone familiar with scientific procedure. It appears that the investigators may have intentionally produced reports that the scientific community would reject. Let me interject something here. Architects and engineers for 911.org, 1,500 architects are not wrong. Architects and engineers are not wrong. They're not wrong. Okay, they're not wrong. Go look at the evidence at AE911.org, I think it is. Continuing, according to the experts appearing in Explosive Evidence, the scientific community did reject the reports immediately, but it has taken a very long time for this message to reach the public. Architects and engineers of 9/11 Truth, the producers of the documentary, have been trying to educate the public for a number of years. The PBS broadcast of their work represents a major step forward for them. There you go. Architects and engineers for 9/11 Truth. Continuing, while most people have probably heard that the scientific investigation has been conducted and that the building collapses were explained, few have probably looked at the NIST reports themselves. Links to the NIST reports can be found in the above-mentioned Digital Journal article. NIST provides no data whatsoever on the actual collapse sequence itself, which is very important when you think that a building is going to fall within 10 seconds that's over 1,100 feet tall. Hello? Continuing, the new attention to the issue could be significant for the U.S. presidential election. Prior to the publication of the reports in 2005 and 2008, almost half the population was suspicious of the official story of 9/11, according to several opinion polls. No, they're just looking at alternative media because the media, the general mainstream of media and propaganda, general public, it does not believe anymore, period. Okay? Continuing, the 9/11 tragedy has been used to direct the policies that have led to the enormous increases in military spending and to a loss of civil liberties in the U.S. and worldwide. As the public begins or becomes aware that the official story has not been given any scientific validation, voters may become more interested in Governor Gary Johnson, Libertarian Party, and Dr. Jill Stein, Green Party, who are currently running for president in 3rd and 4th places, respectively, against Barack Obama and Mitt Romney. Both Johnson and Stein represent themselves as anti-war candidates and defenders of civil liberties. Now, my aspect of this is, at first, full disclosure here, folks, at first I thought it was an enemy coming over here and, crashing planes into buildings. After about, a couple of weeks, maybe a month or so, I began to just really dig into all that. And guess what? A few months later, came to the conclusion that our government lied to us. Period. A year later, it was confirmed, and a few years after that, confirmed again. And let me tell you something. Our government lies to us, period, end of sentence. They're criminals. Why would they want to tell the truth? They've covered up a lot in the last several years and have purposely put us, you and I, we the people, in the middle of their grandiose, what's the word I'm looking for? They've put us in the middle of this grandiose war, these battles on every field, on the political field, on the philosophical field, on the intellectual field. But worse yet, they have taken the power away from the people to defend themselves. Thank you, Governor Jerry Brown and Mayor Michael Bloomberg. Because we know over 70% in some reports have said the American population, you and I, know for a fact our government has lied about 9/11, our government has lied about Waco, our government has lied about Oklahoma City. We are aware of the treachery and treasonous policies that this current administration has implemented. Okay? We know this. I don't know what more people need to have in front of them to prove to them that this government is completely and utterly corrupt. Now, somebody's probably going to yell at me and say they're not. Much like I say my opinions on unions, they've outlived their usefulness and serve no purpose anymore, and they're corrupt as hell. Somebody's going to yell at me and say, no, they're not. If it wasn't for unions, we wouldn't have, 7-day work weeks and all that. And I know non-union shops, non-union businesses paying a hell of a lot more to the people that work for them than in comparison to union shops. Okay. Do you get up off your ass and go out and talk to these, business owners and people like that? Even mom and pops, do you talk to them and ask them about how the economy is affecting their sales and all of that? Have you done that? Seriously, I mean, have you gotten away from your home for a moment to go and talk to people that actually are in the field, that know what they're doing? Do you own a business? If you own a business, I want to hear from you. Send me some email, libertyandfreedomnetwork@usa.com, libertyandfreedomnetwork@usa.com. How has the economy in the last 4 years affected your way of doing business? Yeah, I know. So, let me ask this very important question. You've looked at everything. You've examined everything, and you're still denying the fact that this government is corrupt. You're denying everything. You're saying, no, that's not the way it is. Blah, 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 blah. Really? You sure? Okay. I'm just wondering. RT.com. Russian television. Yes, folks, Russian television. RT.com, excuse me. Link on Liberty and Freedom Network on Facebook. Iran plans to deploy warships off of U.S. coast. Get this in your head for a minute, folks. Iran, Ahmadinejad, plans to deploy warships off of U.S. coast. Iran says it will counter U.S. presence in its waters by sending ships to the international waters off the U.S. coast, says Iranian Naval Chief Admiral Sayari. No specifics were mentioned, but during an interview broadcast on state TV, he said that the plans were aimed for the next few years. It's a quote from him. In the past 2 years, Iran has broadened the range of its navy, sending ships to the Mediterranean Sea and the Indian Ocean. He said, or he did not deny, Sahari did not deny that the proposed measure was a response to the increase in the number of U.S. vessels in the Strait of Hormuz a key oil passageway off of the coast of Iran, okay, which Iran previously threatened to shut off. Quote, "We will not allow anyone to trespass our country's waters. There is no need for anyone else to establish security in our region," unquote, said Sahari. The U.S. Fifth Fleet is currently located in Bahrain on the southern coast of the Strait of Hormuz. More than a third of all seaborne oil in the world passes through the narrow waterway. Due to U.S. and EU-led sanctions against the Islamic Republic, which the West suspects of covertly developing nuclear weapons, Iran's export of oil has halved in the past year. Was cut in half in the past year, basically. Financial data company Bloomberg reports that the country is missing out on $130 million a day in lost sales as a result. In response to the sanctions, Tehran threatened to block the Strait of Hormuz. A majority of Iranian parliamentarians voted in favor of the blockade in July, and although the vote was seen as largely symbolic, the option is still on the table. The U.S. then upped its presence and currently has 2 aircraft carriers in the region, also scheduling extensive war games for later this month. Iranian High Command has previously claimed that it will send its ships toward the U.S., but the threats have not yet resulted in actions, because they're cowards. Tension between the two countries are at a high, as speculation mounts that Washington's close ally Israel may carry out a possibly U.S.-supported strike on Iran to derail its incipient nuclear program. Now, does Iran have weapons of mass destruction? I don't know. I'm not there. I have no idea. One last article here on Liberty and Freedom Network on Facebook. Go check it out as soon as it uploads here. The Daily Caller says Obama says he'll be taking quote unquote executive action without Congress on quote unquote regular basis to quote unquote heal the economy. Check that one out. He says, and I quote, or actually the writer here, Nicholas Balassi, says and writes, President Barack Obama told an audience in Nevada on Monday that he will be regularly announcing executive actions his administration will take on to heal the economy without dysfunctional Congress. Quote, Obama said, I'm here to say to all of you and to say to the people of Nevada and the people of Las Vegas, we can't wait for an increasingly dysfunctional Congress to do its job. Where they won't act, I will. Okay? Now, let me make this statement. Looking at the date of this article, it is from October 24th, 2011. So if that sounded familiar, that is why. Let me say that again. I'm here to say to all of you and to say to the people of Nevada and the people of Las Vegas, we can't wait for an increasingly dysfunctional Congress to do its job. Where they won't act, I will. And he continues, I've told my administration to keep looking every single day for actions we can take without Congress, steps that can save consumers money, make government more efficient and responsive, and help heal the economy. And we're going to be announcing these executive actions on a regular basis. And he did. Go to Liberty and Freedom Network on Facebook. Check out that article as well. December 31st, 2011, he signed the National Defense Authorization Act into law, as well as in the last 4 years, 4 years, he's signed 293 executive orders without Congress's approval. He is on the Security Council of the United Nations, which is against the law for any sitting president of the United States to be in any department or any council on the United Nations. He has violated laws, rules, regulations regularly, and he is now after your Second Amendment rights, and he is now trying to let's say, I'll be nice here, he's trying to pull the wool over your eyes. Actually, I know you're too smart for that, and you see what's coming down the line. You already know what is happening. You already see what is happening. TSA out on the streets. They're out searching your kids at high school proms. They're doing all sorts of crap that people should be outraged by this. There's video on my YouTube channel, ULCRev62, youtube.com, ULCRev62. Go look that up. There's a video by RT, has it up there as well. But it's where TSA, you go to the store in an airport, you buy water, you got the water, they're going to come up, or you buy a drink of whatever kind, they're going to come up and take a little swab type thing and put it in your drink to make sure there's no aroma of any explosives. Yeah, they're violating, they're getting in your pants, they're getting in your drinks, they're doing everything to acclimate you to them being on the streets. They already, I challenge people every single day, sometimes, if I can remember, to do this. Here in the biggest little city in the world, Reno, Nevada, that I challenge people. There are, I've seen them, there's vehicles that say Federal Protection Services, Department of Homeland Security, Police, here on the streets of Reno. Okay? Are they in your area? Are they Federal Protective Services, Homeland Security, Police? Are they in your area? Send me pictures, videos. Liberty and Freedom Network at USA.com. Liberty and Freedom Network at USA.com. If you know things that are on the inside, whistleblower tips at USA.com. Whistleblower tips at USA.com. You can go to the email address on Spreaker and send it there as well. I want to know what's happening in your neck of the woods. I want to know. Why? Because if we work together, we can push this out into the general public and get these people to either back off or stop doing what they're doing. Because we are awake and we know what's going on, and we will defend the Constitution and the Bill of Rights against enemies, foreign and domestic, if we have to. Okay? Now, I've heard all sorts of avenues about the Second Amendment. You know what the Second Amendment was? Back then, our politicians knew then that if a government got out of control, that we the people would have to defend ourselves against that. That is why the states had their own militias at the time. It was not United States Armed Forces. It was militias in each state that protected the state from another state, from a foreign enemy, from whatever. That is why they set it up. Other people are saying, well, it's not, a right to bear arms doesn't mean you have a right to have ammunition. Yes, you do, because it was right there. Okay? Well, it doesn't say that in the Bill of Rights. Common sense. Get your head out of your ass. Figure it out. Okay? I know I'm cussing. I don't apologize for it because of the fact that I am very, very upset that our government, which should be serving us, because we're their boss, has turned around and has totally blanketed this country with its fascist dictatorial policies, at-will employment policies, right-to-work states, all of that. And you're probably going to say, right to work? Yes, we have a right to work, so we need those. No, we don't. Go back in the National Labor Act. Go look back on the Taft-Hartley Act. Go back. Taft-Hartley Act, 1930s, I think 35, 36, somewhere around in there. Go look at it. It is a violation of every constitutional protected right that we have. A right to work state does not mean that you have a right to work. We have a right to join a union if we want, or if we don't want to, we don't have to. No, that's the guise. That's the facade. That's the false security that you have under a right to work state. And at-will employment policies go right along with that. What? I'm going to fire somebody from my company and as a scenario, put myself in as a owner of a company, I'm going to fire somebody from my company with no explanation whatsoever. The guy can come in drunk. He can come in late all the time. The unions are going to back him up and say, no, you can't fire him. We'll sue you. Really? Unions are nothing more than bullies anymore. They have outlived their usefulness and serve no purpose, period. End of sentence. You don't like it? Email me. Liberty and Freedom Network at USA.com. Liberty and Freedom Network at USA.com. We need to get together and say enough's enough. Now, why does a union bully a company? To get the workers to get more money when the company is not making that money. Do you understand where unions have put businesses out of business, okay? Look at the mom and pops that were here 40, 50 years ago. Then you get these stores like Safeway and Raley's and all that. All good stores. I'm not bashing those people. But the mom and pops have gone away. The mom and pops went broke because they could not sustain their business because of Raley's, Safeway, this, that store, whatever. Walmart's the same way. Not union, but they come in, lower their prices. Little mom and pop down the way there that has maybe 7 employees of the whole store all week cannot compete with lower prices. Okay? There you go. Now what are you going to do? What are you going to do? You're going to step up to the plate and say enough's enough. You people are crap. I'm not going to have my government tell me what I'm going to eat, when I'm going to eat, whether or not I can grow a garden in my... I'm not going to have it anymore. And you shouldn't either. Whether you want to or not, hey, that's up to you, not my problem. But common sense tells me that I'm a free individual. That I am a person that wants liberty and freedom, not tyranny and slavery. Minimum wage, abolish it. It's slave wages. Forget about it. You don't like it? Change it. I'll talk more about that tomorrow. Yes, this is the views expressed right here on the Liberty and Freedom Network. You want to email me? Please do. Please do. Email us at libertyandfreedomnetwork@usa.com. Liberty and Freedom Network at USA.com. Go to the website, check it out. You can email me from the Spreaker site as well. There's an email there. Thing is that you got to wake up. Thing is you got to be aware. Thing is that you got to be smarter than those people in Washington, D.C. And I'm sure you are, and I'm sure you see what's happening. But you know what? Get off your ass and do something about it. Oh, well, I don't want to know. Then whine to your mama. Don't come here and give me your drama. Okay? Or be a man and be a woman. Let's defend the Constitution and the Bill of Rights against enemies foreign and domestic. Why? I'll tell you why. It's real simple. We the people have the power, for we are America.